Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Sri Sadguru Paramatmane Namaha. Sarva Maharshibhyo Namaha. The sage who has acquired knowledge of the self has no rebirth. 17th Sloka. Buddhayah tadatmanaha tadvidnishta tatparayanaha gachanti punaravrittim gnana nirduta kalmashaha. Substance. With their intellect absorbed in that their self-being, that established in that they go from whence there is no return, and their sins are dispelled by knowledge. Commentary. The realization of Brahman being the final goal of all spiritual practices. What is the duty of the aspirant? He should think of that at all times. He should merge himself in that. He should be firmly rooted in that. And he should have no other thing except that as the sole refuge and aim. Such a man alone can realize Brahman. It is a psychological truth that man becomes that which he contemplates. By ignorance, man is contemplating samsara, and so he is bound by it by the effect of his own absorption in it. Now, the sadhana should be made in the opposite direction. Mind should contemplate the supreme reality, the freedom of the self, and if this is done constantly, still the whole personality is filled with that, then the Atma becomes manifest as the reality in man. It is true that the mind cannot all of a sudden become absorbed in that. The mind oscillates between the objectives world on one side and the mind Atma on the other. But constant, unremitting, and intense practice will fix the direction of the mind towards Atma. All great men have gone through this practice. They have concentrated all their energies in Atma and dedicated their whole being to that. And thus they have realized the Supreme. To the birthless and deathless state means punaravritti, means taking birth and becoming bound by samsara. Birthlessness, apunaravritti, is the state of final emancipation. Since dispelled by knowledge means who shall attain that state? Those who are free from sin and evil, free from ignorance and delusion, attain that state. How can sin be destroyed? By the knowledge of Atma. So long as there is the least trace of evil, the light is not revealed. So the enveloping darkness of evil should be shattered by knowledge. Constant thought and meditation on Atma brings the spiritual knowledge to man. It is not true that the man engaged in worldly pursuits attains success by the concentration of all his energy on that object which he desires to acquire. Yes, it is the truth. Day and night, the wealthy are adding to their possessions. Most of the people are spending their whole life and energy in acquiring lands, houses, positions, name, and fame. They come to possess these things by the very force of their efforts, and yet they still live in a state of fear and suffer terrible torture of the mind. If they can turn their interest and energy towards the spiritual quest, they can easily acquire that knowledge by which they can ever afterwards live a life of fearlessness, joy, and perfect freedom. Atmagnana is the greatest acquisition for a human being because by it he transcends all the fears and sorrows of life and lives in restful peace, bliss, and blessedness. Question. What is moksha? Answer. It is the birthless and deathless state of the highest bliss. Question. Who can acquire it? Answer. The man who is free from sin and evil can acquire it. Question. How is evil destroyed? Answer. Evil is dispelled by knowledge. Question. How is knowledge acquired? Answer. By thinking of that, by merging in that, by taking refuge in that, by having that as his supreme goal. man acquires Atmagnana. Here, that means Atmagnana. The sage of equal vision is described. 18th Shloka. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Swapake cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Substance. The sages look with equal eye on the Brahmana, endowed with knowledge and humility, on a cow, on an elephant, on a dog, and on the outcast who feeds on dog's flesh. Commentary. Sages who have acquired Brahmagnana see everything as Brahman. In all the varied manifestations of nature, they see the underlying substratum, that is Atma, and so they do not make any distinction between one thing and another. For them, all that exists, whatever the name and form may be, is made of one substance, Brahman, Atma. So they have love and compassion for all the creatures without distinction of high or low, caste and creed, and so on. The Brahmana here stands for the highest purity. The outcast, Swapaka, represents the lowest order of human being. The sage looks upon both with an equal eye, because the background for the highest spiritual giant and the meanest wretch is Brahman and nothing else. Is the vision of the sage confined to humanity only? No. His vision embraces all the created beings. So, the elephants, dogs, cows are mentioned to represent the animal kingdom. It means animals, birds, reptiles, and all living creatures without any exception at all are included in the universal vision of the sage. All are Brahman. One who looks upon all this equally is the man of real knowledge. Each man is looking at things from a particular plane of vision. The most ignorant man looks upon objects only from the physical plane. He considers only the color, stature, race, caste, and so on. This is bodily outlook, Dehadrishti, the more apprehension of the outermost fringes of all beings, the mere flesh and blood estimate. They are pleased or displeased according to these physical distinctions. The second class of persons look upon objects from the mental plane. They consider the character of a man, his mental makeup, his intellectual powers, and other talents which are exhibited in him. This is mental outlook, manodrishti. The highest class of people look upon all things from the spiritual plane, and they find God or the reality in everyone. They penetrate to the innermost recesses of the heart through the outer coverings of the mind and body. Their vision is that of the one Brahman, Atma, being the essence of all things. This is Atmic outlook, Atma Drishti. All that exists is God. Out of that one substance, all the apparent distinctions and differences of name and form are created by the power of Maya. If a number of golden ornaments are given for sale to a jeweler, he sees them all as gold and weighs and values them accordingly. All parts are made of earth. The reality in all of them is the earth. Thus, the sages see the all pervading Atma everywhere. Hence, they possess equal vision. This is Gnana. Love for all is the highest attribute of God. The Gnani has such love extended to all beings. This is the universality of the Gita message. All artificial limitations are transcended by the realization of the self. Brotherhood of man is no doubt a great ideal, but the love of the Gnani does not stop there. He finds the same self in all beings. The ultimate goal is cosmic love, the identification of one's self with all that exists. In the human organism, there are different organs like hands, legs, eyes, etc. If one of the limbs is affected, the whole body feels the pain. So, it is that the Gnani feels pain when any part of the universe suffers. We come across exceptional men who have reached this state, who take upon themselves the sorrows and sufferings of other beings just because they see the same self in all. This universal love is the test of Gnana. To know that Atma is the one indwelling principle of creation as a whole is to enter the plane of cosmic love and unity. In this, the application of Vedantic doctrine of oneness in practical life is clearly declared. Question: who is a wise man? Answer: he who looks with an equal eye on all beings is the man of real wisdom.